yourself smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much.
Hey y'all, this is your host Andrea, and you are tuned into Black Girl Gems, and we about to get into some things, y'all. So go ahead and get your wine or your tea or your water ready. And if you're not following me, please go ahead and follow me on Drea Baby, and that is DR3A_BBY on Instagram, and tune in because we about to get into some things, honey. We about to get into some things.
We don't teach boys the same. We raise girls to see each other as competitors, not for jobs or for accomplishments, which I think can be a good thing, but for the attention of men.
Hey y'all. So today's episode is going to be about money. Yes, money. We're going to be talking about pay, negotiating your pay cuts, sign-on bonuses, and all those juicy gems that comes along with getting paid and working. So essentially, this episode came about, today's episode came about because, I am in the process of transitioning with my job. I know y'all probably listen like, damn, this girl's talking about changing jobs again. But yes, I am talking about changing my job again. And I'm just going to say this little thing before I even continue. And that is, I am loyal to myself. I'm not loyal to any of these companies. So yeah. If a job's not suiting me, child, I will get my things together and find another one. But anyways, yeah, so today's episode is going to be about pay, negotiating pay cuts, sign-on bonuses, salary, and all those good things. So I'm just going to get into a little bit of story time. Basically, this whole transitioning of jobs came about because the hospital that I was working at in East Orange, I was working there for, a year. And I was under the impression that I was hired for 3 to 11 full time every other weekend. So when I started working there, once I finished my training, training was brutal. I'm just going to say that. Training was brutal because training was 7 in the morning to 3 or 8 in the morning to 4, but my real shift was 3 to 11. So what they would do is when I would be trained on one department, so let's say I was trained in the whole of hematology, but I was still training in chemistry, they would have me do training Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 to 3 in chemistry, and then do Thursday and Friday, 3 to 11 in hematology. So it was a constant up and down, 7 to 3, 3 to 11, 7 to 3 during my training, which was really tough. I'm not going to hold you. But once I finished my training, I was so happy because I said, yes, finally, I'm going to be on my shift. I'm not going to have to keep waking up early, going to sleep late, waking up early, going to sleep late. But who, child, was I ever wrong? So basically what ended up happening is once I was finished with my training, now they started incorporating third shift, 11 at night to 7 in the morning, into my schedule, on a weekly basis. And, initially I was like, you know what? I want to excel in this job. I want to show them that I am a team player. This is how I want to show them, she's really in this to win this. She's a great worker. She's a team player. She takes initiative. All that good stuff that you want jobs to say about you, especially when you need to use them as a reference. So I was essentially just saying yes to doing all these third shifts because I was just thinking I'm being a team player. And essentially nobody likes someone who comes into a job and they say, I'm not going to help do any of the shifts, because who likes that type of person, right? So anyways, so I was doing, third shift or whatever. So just a little bit of a backstory. The third shift team members of this job, they only did their shift. They didn't cover anyone else's shift. They wouldn't come in earlier when it snowed. They were all about themselves. If I'm only loyal to myself was a person, the third shift employees at this hospital, those are those exact people. When you think of, I'm only loyal to myself, I don't care about this company, I'm just going to do what works best for me. That was them. So the shit hit the motherfucking fan in July. Basically what happened was my manager, I worked 3 to 11. My manager texted me on the weekend that I was off, and she tells me, oh, hey, Andrea, I changed your schedule for next week. Mind you, this is like Sunday, I think. So she telling me next week, but this is really like the next day. So she texts me and she tells me, oh, hey, I changed your schedule to work Monday, Tuesday, 11 at night to 7 in the morning, Wednesday, Thursday, 3 p.m. to 11 p.m., and Friday back 11 to 7. And I said, at that point, I just said, I'm not doing this. That is crazy. Like, at that point, how can anyone, like, some people could do it, but how can anyone do that? I'm not gonna do that because that's too much. I'm gonna be telling my body, stay up all night, and then the next day, go back to sleep at night, and then, like, it was just too much back and forth. And I told myself I wasn't gonna do it to myself. So I told her, hey, like, I can't do that. I won't do it, and I can't do it. I don't want to do any more night shifts. Like, I feel like I put in my little team player, like, volunteering as much as I could, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was just so exhausted of doing third shift, and especially because the third shift crew did not care for anybody but themselves. And a sidebar, the lady who works on third shift, who's always calling out and always having some type of family emergency, she especially doesn't do anyone else's shift, and she lets it be known. So I really wasn't even feeling that. So I tell my manager, I'm like, listen, I really, I can't do that anymore. Like, I'm tired. I just don't want to volunteer anymore. I feel like I'm, starting to get taken advantage of, and I'm not feeling it. So she texts me back and she tells me, we're going based off of seniority, and, you have to do it. So I just told her, I'm not going to do it. Simple. I'm just not going to do it. So then, basically, we kind of just left it at that. And then the next day I call my job and I'm speaking to my coworker now. And I asked my coworker, hey girl, can you let me know what schedule I'm on for this week? What is my schedule for this week? So my coworker tells me, oh, okay, hold on, let me check. So she confirms that I am indeed on the schedule for Monday, Tuesday, 11 at night to 7 in the morning, and Wednesday, Thursday, 3 to 11, and then Friday back 11 to 7. So I told her, right we have like this communication log or this like endorsement book for when people are running late or calling out. So I told her, please write in the book that I will not be coming in Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. So she puts it in the book. So, I'm an over communicator, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I do over communicate. Like, especially when it comes to work, I don't want anyone to say that, oh, she never told me that, or I didn't know that. So after I spoke to my coworker, I then text all of my management, like all the managers, and it's not that many of them, it's like 4. So I put them in a group chat, and I told them, hey guys, I'm not going to come in on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. My schedule was changed last minute, and I cannot do those shifts. I just can't do it. So then my manager, lets me, well, I'm not my manager at this point. This is like the head boss. This is like my lab director. She texts back and she lets me know that, it was an emergency situation and I was hired for evenings and nights as needed. And, I just have to suck it up because of the emergency situation, and that's what I was hired for. So now, y'all, in this moment, I'm hot. I'm mad because I'm like, okay, hold on 1 minute, because now this is the fucking bullshit. In my head, I'm like, no, nowhere in my offer letter did it say, okay, let me even back myself up. With my offer letter, when you get a job and they give you an offer letter, they're going to tell you what your shift is. They're going to tell you, are you here for first, second, or third shift? Are you doing every other weekend? Are you doing every third weekend? They're going to designate what times are you obligated to be in this facility. And what is your pay going to be? And are you getting paid weekly or bi-weekly? So nowhere in my offer letter did it say that. Nowhere in my job description did it say that schedule could be subject to change to the needs of the hospital. Nowhere did it say that. And I read that shit with a fine-tooth comb because I knew if they try to pull this, I would say I'm not doing that. And I had the paperwork to back it up. So she tried to tell me that. So I told her, I can't do those nights. Number one. And number two, none of this that you're saying was stated in my offer letter. I was under the impression that I was hired here for 3 to 11 and every other weekend. That's it. And if I'm doing third shift, it's because I'm volunteering or because y'all asked me and I agreed, but not because you guys are just telling me that I had to do it. And mind you, working there, I would, people were always calling out, like, especially with like third shift, they were always calling out. So I would come into work thinking I'm doing my regular 3 to 11, and my manager would be like, oh, this person called tonight, you got to stay and do a double. Or like, it was just always some nonsense, like someone calling out or someone has some type of family emergency going on. So your schedule is just always changing. So I was like, you know what? I've been doing this for a while. I'm fed up. I don't want to do it no more. So yeah, back to, you know, the conversation with my managers. So I told them, you know, it wasn't in my offer letter, so I don't know where you're getting that I was hired for evenings and nights and needed, because I don't see that like in my contract or anything that I signed off on. So, you know, I just basically tell her, like, you know what, like, I just can't keep compromising the personal events that I have going on in my life for work. This is not working with my lifestyle. Working evenings and nights is not working with my lifestyle. It just isn't, you know. I don't want to keep, you know, if I want to come home at 11:30, 12 o'clock at night and I want to lay up with my man, I'm going to lay up with my man. I don't have to tell him, oh, I'm not going to come tonight or whatever. Like, I feel like, no, it's not, like, I'm not going to keep doing that, compromising my personal life or what I want to do with my, you know, when I'm supposed to be off for work. It's just not worth it. So then I told her, like, you know what, so basically I told the group chat, like, if this isn't going to work for you guys, or if you guys feel that this is what I was hired for, essentially evenings and nights, I need to know that now, because that's going to help me determine if I can continue working here or not. Because essentially, no, and realistically speaking, nobody is going to take a full-time job that tells you you're going to work evenings and nights as needed, because that lets you know that you're never going to have a set schedule. So how do you plan your life around that? No one is going to do that. Full-time, no. Per diem, part-time, maybe. But full-time, no one's going to do that. You know, it just, realistically speaking, that doesn't make sense. No one's going to do that. So, that's how that went. So the next day, because this conversation, like I said, it happened all on a Sunday or Saturday, one of those days, but it happened over the weekend. So I told her, you know, we need to kind of figure this out before the week comes, because I don't want the week to come and you guys think that, oh, I'm coming. I'm really not coming. Like, I'm telling you that I'm not coming. So just prepare yourself to know that Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, you don't have someone for the night shift. So then Monday morning, my lab director texts the group chat and lets me know that she confirms with HR that I was hired for evenings and nights as needed, and I'm an asset to the lab, and please reconsider resigning. So now I'm like, okay, I'm not going to take her word over mine, because I know I'm not crazy. I know I read my offer letter. I know what I filled out on their website. So I know it said 3 to 11. So I'm like, she's crazy. So now I'm going back and forth with the lady in HR, email calling, and she says the same thing my director says, like, yes, you were hired as evenings and nights as needed. And I'm asking her, like, well, why don't I see that? Why is it that you guys are the only ones who could see that, but I don't see that in my application, in my offer letter, nothing? I don't see it. Why is that? Like, that's kind of suspicious to me. What's going on? So she's like, oh, well, we dug a little bit deeper and blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, you know what? Y'all some bullshit. This is not the only hospital. I could work somewhere else. I quit. I put in my resignation. I put in my 2 weeks. Actually, no, I put in a 3 weeks notice with them, because I just kind of felt like this is mad unprofessional. Y'all are just kind of trying to throw your way around and bully me into believing this is what I was hired for, and I got to just suck it up, and that's just that. And I said no, because I feel like I'm being abused and walked all over it, and, you know, that's not going to work for me. Like I said, it's not going to work for my lifestyle. So the reason for that story anyways is, you know, now that whole incident I've been doing a lot of interviews. So now I'm, you know, doing interviews, they're asking me questions, you're doing a lot of Q&A, you're getting offer letters, so on and so forth. And I noticed that in doing interviews and getting offer letters, pay always seems to be the yes, no factor as if you're taking a job. And from experiencing what I experienced this year, I learned that, one, I will never accept or decline an offer right away. Like, I'm just not going to accept or decline right away. And the reason why I don't accept or decline right away is because I always want to reflect on what was said during an interview. I want to understand, okay, did they say I'm working every other weekend? Did they say I was going to work varied shift? Did they say something about me covering call-outs? Did they say anything about an inclement weather policy? Like, I need to know if these things were said during my interview, because this is going to affect, one, are y'all paying me enough to deal with all this craziness? I had an interview for a hospital in North Jersey, and the lady had told me that they have an inclement weather policy where I'm obligated to be at the hospital no matter what. Even if it's a state of emergency, I'm still obligated to be there. If I don't come in, I get written up. Now, this hospital is 50 minutes away from me, and she told me if it snows or if they know it's going to be a snowstorm, her expectation is that I'm going to get a hotel by the hospital so that I can make it to work. And to me, that sounds crazy. That you expect me to buy a hotel to come to work if it's inclement weather. So, I mean, they were paying really good money. I can't deny that. They were paying very well. But it's just like, at that point, I just didn't even want to waste my time because I already knew this is not going to work for me. Because I'm not going to risk my life to come to work just because you guys have this policy and I'm so scared to get written up. So I just knew at that moment, I'm not going to, I'm just not interested in your company. So that's why I said don't accept or decline right away, because you kind of really want to know like what was said, what are they expecting me to do, and then like I said, if the expectation is all that, where you're expecting me to come every other weekend, you're expecting me to do varied shifts, you're expecting me to cover call outs, you're expecting me to come when there's inclement weather, okay, then that lets me know I'm expecting top dollar. So if you tell me, if my expectation is I want to get paid, I don't know, like $40 an hour, if you guys say, okay, you're going to pay me $40 an hour, I'm still going to negotiate and ask for 43. Only because I know that working every other weekend, varied shifts, covering call-outs, and inclement weather, that's very demanding. That's very demanding. So, yes, you might be getting paid good money, but that's still very demanding of a job to expect you to do all those things. So ask for more. Well, that's just what I would do. I don't want to say what you absolutely should do, but that's just like a little gem from me to y'all, because I would ask for more, because that's crazy. Also, too, consider, okay, is there a weekend differential? The hospital that I was working at, they had an evening shift differential, but working on the weekends, they didn't care. They expected you're here on the weekends. They didn't cover, they didn't give you more money on the weekend. So that's also something you have to consider when you're asking, you're negotiating your pay. Also, did you do your homework? How much should you be getting paid? It's 2021, y'all. Like, there's no reason why you're applying to a job and you're not, you're not going on salary.com, PayScale, Glassdoor, and seeing how much this particular position is getting. If you're a nurse, there's no reason why you're not doing it. If you're a radiologist, technologist, if you're a patient care technician, a physical therapist, occupational therapist, any of those medical laboratory scientists, there's no reason why you're not using these websites to your advantage to know how much should you be getting paid, because they will lowball you if you can. Another example, another story time. I had a interview for a job in another North Jersey hospital in Newark, and I really wanted to work there so bad because it was, like a level 1 trauma center. If someone sees that on your resume, they're going to say, oh my goodness, this person knows what she is doing, and we want to hire her, no questions. But they lowballed me. It was like a $10 pay cut. And I knew that wasn't the normal pay range for a medical laboratory scientist. I just knew it wasn't. So I didn't decline the offer right away. I asked the guy for a week. I asked him for a week to think about it. At first I negotiated my pay. He went up with 90 cents, but I still knew that it was bullshit. So I asked him for a week, but I already knew I was going to decline the offer. So after a week, when I declined the offer, do you know, y'all, that this man said to me, oh, well, we'll offer you a $2,500 sign-on bonus. So that just goes to show y'all could pay me what I want, but the expectation is that I'm going to just take whatever. So that's why I said, don't accept or decline right away, because you'll be surprised what these companies will offer you when they know that you're really going to walk away because you have other options. I'm not saying to be conceited and be like, oh, well, I don't need y'all. If you have rent due at the end of the month and you really you need a job, you have to take whatever you could get, sis. But thank God, I'm blessed in the sense where, I have my family support. My fiance, he is such a major support system for me because, you know, and then plus I have savings, but like I have this comfy safety net. So it makes me feel like I'm not pressed to just take any old job because I know that, no, I'm going to take my time and really do my homework and research and see, okay, is this somewhere that I could work for a couple years? Is this somewhere I could kind of rock out with for a while before, you know, I go to my next journey? Because you don't want to be bouncing from job to job, unless if you're a traveler and that's what you want to do, then, you know, get your coin, sis. But if you're not a traveler, there's really no reason you should be bouncing from job to job. So, also too, did you read the employee reviews on Indeed? That's very important. I use Indeed and Glassdoor for jobs religiously. You will be surprised how much, like, especially like when you look at the reviews for your particular position, what they say, you will be surprised what you see. Because in the interviews, you know, everyone wants to make it seem like we're the best place to work. We'll teach you, we'll help you. But no, you need to read those reviews, sis. I'm not saying that should be your determining factor, but just use it because you'll be surprised what you read when you read them. Also too, another thing that LinkedIn does, if you know, for all the people who have LinkedIn out there, if you see a company has actively recruiting on their job, that means they have a high turnaround time. They have a high turnaround. So like people are constantly quitting, being hired, fired, and that's not good. Whenever I see a company that says actively recruiting, that lets me know people are always quitting and getting fired or whatever the case may be at your job. So more than likely, they're probably going to pay you what you want to get paid, but just know it's going to be some bullshit, sis. It's going to be some straight up bullshit. So like I said, it's 2021. There's really no reason for us not to use the internet to our benefit. Like, come on, we're millennials. I'm hoping, well, not everyone who's listening to this is a millennial, but if you're a millennial, like, there's really no reason for you not to be, like, using the internet to kind of do your homework on a job. Just saying. Just, you know, just a little gem. Also, too, another thing is, during this pandemic, like, I asked on my page, 'cause I made a little page now for my podcast, so I'm happy about that. But something that I learned during this pandemic working is, when I want to shout out to one of the girls because she slid into my DM and said that healthcare heroes get burned out too, and that is so true. Like, honestly, I'm so tired of seeing healthcare heroes work here because that shit don't mean nothing. Because at the end of the day, like, y'all say that, but I can only really speak for hospitals. So I haven't really worked in any other setting other than a hospital setting, but they will work you to the grave if you let them. And when you die, they're going to say, oh, she was a good worker, but we need to replace her ass because everyone's replaceable. So don't let them do that. Like, don't let them do that. Just put yourself first and always remember you have to be mentally and physically stable to be your best professional self. Like, if I'm working all these doubles and swing shifts and all this crazy stuff and I'm coming into work like a zombie, I'm going to make mistakes. Things aren't going to get done accurately. And what good am I to the company at that point? What good am I? That doesn't make any sense. Like, my sister always tells me I'm not loyal to any company. I'm loyal to myself. And that's true because, like I said, this pandemic taught me that, these hospitals, they will work you to the grave. And, they think doing things like, that's another gem, y'all. And they think doing things like buying you lunch is helping you. But, let me get into some tea. A lot of these hospitals got federal grants. So they got mad money. They could have been giving their healthcare workers hella bonuses. They could have been given, thank God for me, the hospital I was working, they were paying hazard pay. So that was nice. But they could have gave each employee $1,000 a bonus, $1,000 sign-on bonus, or $1,000 bonus for working there during the pandemic. A lot of companies didn't do that. But trust and believe, a lot of these hospitals, they got a lot of grants, they got a lot of funding, and none of it went towards the worker bees. So that, with the pandemic, I learned, no, I'm not going to let none of these hospitals or any type of healthcare facilities come and tell me, oh, you're a healthcare hero, work yourself to a grave, do all these doubles and work hard for us, because it's not rewarding. Being a zombie and working myself until I'm physically and mentally drained for the sake of saying I work at whatever hospital, that's not rewarding. Also, another thing that I learned during the pandemic, thanks to my fiance, because this is, his little thing that he put me on, is at any moment things could shut down. So you need to make sure that your savings is on on Stack, because there's no reason why, like, after this pandemic, people are not saving. Like, if anything, like, y'all should be saving. Like, if you guys listen to this podcast, just, like, especially with the pandemic, why are you not saving? Like, you need to be saving, because if your job shuts down today, you don't have a job. Don't depend on no stimulus and none of that extra stuff. No, you need to be saving your coins, sis. And also, too, after the pandemic, still be healthy. Like, don't be on no dirty shit. Like, people, like, all these celebrities talking about they don't bathe daily. Like, that's terrible. Like, still wash your hands. Still wash your hands. Still wipe stuff down. Still be clean. Still go and vacuum out your car and wipe down the things to your car and get your car washed and, get your nails and your feet and just still be healthy and take walks and go to the gym and eat healthy. Like, don't let this pandemic go past and y'all just like, oh, well, the pandemic is gone, so I'm going to go back to, like, being on some dirty shit. No, that's trifling. Like, there's so many things happen during this pandemic. Like, just number one, health should be first. Like, put yourself first when you're working. Don't let these places work you to a grave. Don't go back to being dirty. Like, save your money. Make sure that you're mentally ready. Like, you're mentally healthy. You're physically healthy. Because if you're not, you cannot go into nobody's company and be your best professional you and be sharp and be quick and be on your toes. You just can't. I see so many people who are so drained, and I'm like, y'all look like zombies. But they're working, and they're disgruntled, and I'm just like, I won't do that to myself. I won't allow it. And then my last little tidbit, too, is the hospital. I can only speak for hospitals. Like, y'all, I know y'all probably like, why she always keep saying hospitals? Because that's what resonates for me. I work at hospitals. That's really where I'm at with it. But is the hospital that you're going to be working for, is it reputable? There is something called health grades or leapfrog, and that will tell you your hospital health safety rating, and you'll be shocked. A lot of these hospitals, F is the lowest. A lot of these hospitals aren't really doing too good, sis. So if you have a hospital on your resume that has like a C or D or F rating, I don't know how that looks for you as far as your resume, because they might be like, oh, she's coming from a hospital that doesn't have a good health safety grade, and we're not feeling that. So just, that's just a little gem for y'all. But the takeaways from this, guys, is just always, just always negotiate your pay. Even if the place that you are, you get is offering you the money that you want, just negotiate your pay. Put yourself first. Definitely, like I said, just remember, like, don't let these hospitals or these facilities work you into a grave. Like, you got to be your best professional self to do your job accurately. So remember things that were said during your interview. Take time to reflect. Don't accept or decline an offer right away. Take time to think about what they said, what's expected of you. Do your homework. Look at the Indeed reviews. Use Glassdoor, PayScale. Those are really good websites to see how much these hospitals are paying or how much you should be getting paid. They even have tools to let you know, like, if you have X amount of experience, this is what you should be getting. Look at the normal rate in the state that you live in. It's 2021, y'all. Like I told y'all, there's no reason why that you shouldn't be using the internet or so, like, all these tools to your benefit. You're just, you're missing out if you don't. But please, like I always say, guys, follow me on Instagram. That's Drea Baby, DR3A_BBY. Slide into my DM. Let me know what y'all think. Tell me what are you guys experiencing? I only really touch on healthcare because that's where I work. But if if y'all work in like offices, tech, marketing, anything like that, and you feel like they try you to, or they try to lowball you or discredit you, I always say, please sign into my DM and let me know. Because at the end of the day, we're going to get into some things. And yeah. Also, y'all can follow me on Black Girl Gems _. That's the page I started for this, but I'm not really too ready to kind of promote it yet. So just follow me on my regular page, and that's Drea, DR3A_BBY. And we're going to get to some things, y'all. Like I said, let me know what you think. Sorry to my DMs. Let me know what you learned during the pandemic professionally. Tell me, like, what have you learned? What experiences have you had with negotiating pay? Because at the end of the day, whatever you accept is what you accept. Whatever you tell them is what you expect to get paid, that's kind of what you accept. So you can't be mad when you feel like they're not paying you enough, sis, because you accept it. So, yeah, y'all. We're going to get some things. As always, follow me on Instagram at DR3A_BBY.